Now I request Dr. Yogen Singh to kindly formally welcome our speaker one for the day one of the International Academia Leadership Program on the learning through transformations and transitions. And also, if we wish, he can share few insights and his viewpoint on this particular theme, its importance and its relevance, especially in this current scenario. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible? Respected, good morning, all of you. And for some places, it's good afternoon to all of you. And to our speaker, especially to our speaker, sir, Dr. Sarvan Paramasivam, a very early good morning, as it is near about 2:30 a.m.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. It's nearly 3 a.m. here in Toronto.
Yes, sir, 3 a.m. over here, sir. So, first of all, respected principal, sir, Dr. G.M. Patil ji, respected registrar, sir, Dr. S.S. Surur, respected CEO, sir, Commodore B.K. Gupta ji, respected Dean Academics, Dr. R.S. Jagdish, respected Manoj, sir, our accounts head, respected honorable and the most important stakeholders of making any program or system success, the participants from various parts of the globe, from various parts of the country. I, Dr. Yogendra Singh, the convener of this International Academia Leadership Development Program, welcomes you all for this inaugural session and the first session of this 6 days journey. First of all, again, on behalf of myself, I convey my uh, uh, sorry for the inconvenience caused due to some technical glitches,
I think Dr. Sapna, you are talking on mute.
So sir is connecting with principal, sir. So that is why there is some issue and I have not opened my mic. That is why I was on mute.
Uh, Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much, all of you, for the inconvenience caused. And finally, we are over with all the technical glitches. And I can assure you that just like our last program, this program also will be a great success by all your support and cooperation. First of all, I myself, Dr. Yogendra Singh, welcomes our honorable principal, sir. And as he is having a very busy schedule, so he has just closed his one of the important meeting. HOD meeting was going on, and after closing that meeting, sir has honored us by joining us. And due to some technical glitches, sir was also trying from last 30 minutes to join with us, but unfortunately, due to some technical reasons, and finally, sir is with us to give his blessings. So, respected Principal Sir, Dr. G. M. Patil ji, respected Registrar Sir, Dr. S. S. Surur Sir, respected Dean Sir, Dr. R. S. Jagdish Sir, respected CEO Sir, Commodore B. K. Gupta ji, respected Manoj Kumar Sir, our Accounts Officer, and the most important our honorable participants from various parts of the country and the globe, where I can see the participation from Singapore, Nigeria, Oman, Philippines, South Korea, Nigeria, and Sri Lanka, and likewise. So it is an honor for us to have the global participation and very high repute of participants, high end of professors, and they have given us honor by joining this program. Once again, I myself, Dr. Yogendra Singh, welcome you in International Academia Leadership Development Program on Learning Through Transition and Transformation. As the time is not permitting me to go further, I request our honorable principal sir give his blessings and formally welcome our first speaker of the day, Dr. Shravan Paramashivam. Dr. Shravan Paramashivam from Canada, Toronto. So I request, so before our Shravan sir start his session, I request our honorable principal sir, as he is the convener of this program, to formally start the program and give his blessings and his guidance. Over to you, sir, principal sir.
Thank you very much.
And sir, one more thing, sir. One more thing, sir. Before, sorry for interruption, sir. Sir, we have by showing the last performance of our programs, sir. Many of the reputed professors, teachers, faculty members, students, sir, they have rejoined us for this program, sir. So they were the participants. They were the participants in our previous program also, sir. And it is an honor for us that by seeing our consistency and quality and the level of speakers, again they have given us honor by rejoining this program, sir, like Professor Jahir Uddin from Bangladesh. Sir, we have Dr. V.K. Tomar, CEO, Jaipuria Institute. We have Dr. Garandi from Nigeria. And likewise, sir, I have M number of names to count, sir. So I welcome all. And for this, sir, over to you, sir, Principal, sir. G.M. Patil, sir. Jain.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I extend my pranams to the lotus feet of His Holiness Mahaswamiji, Jagat Guru Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, the Pontiff of JSS Mat Mysuru, and President Jagat Guru Sri Shivaratri Mahavidyapita Mysuru, and seek his divine blessings for all of us present here, for making this event a great success and memorable one. Before I proceed ahead with giving the brief details about this program, my institution or Department of Management Studies, and welcoming the honorable guests here, let me tender my deepest apologies for not being able to come on time. We are putting our best efforts to be very punctual and on time always for all the programs. Since the logistic issue is no more there, and we are attending the program from our offices and residences, and we are putting our best efforts to make sure that we are on time. But since till today morning, we are facing issues with regard to the network and the bandwidth. The meeting I was supposed to start at 11 o'clock in the morning today. Again, I have asked my colleague registrar to start the meeting. No, I asked him to give the link for all of us, but somehow there was some issue; it couldn't be started. I created another link and shared with our deans and HODs. By the time he got it working, so there are some minor glitches and hiccups with the internet and with the platform that we are using here. So due to some problems beyond our control, I couldn't finish the meeting on time because there was delay in starting the meeting, and it affected the next program. Because the first program was delayed, and the delay in starting and delay in closing the program. So for that, I am tendering my deepest apologies and request you all, and I am thankful to all of you for bearing with us for the delay caused in starting this program. Now, I am feeling very honored, and it's my privilege to be part of this program. The principal of this institution, the prestigious JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. As you all are aware, that we have the practice and tradition of conducting the programs of the highest quality. And recently, the program conducted by the Department of Management Studies has got the very big, it was lauded and received the applaud from all corners, the organizers, the experts, and the delegates from all over the world, from different countries, the different countries outside India. The delegates have taken part. I am feeling very glad to see my friend Professor Muhammad Zahir Uddin Arif ji from Bangladesh. I can see him on the screen, sir. Good morning to you. I met you during the last program, and really, when we are meeting on the platform, we are feeling that the job is not fully done. It's good that we are meeting here and sharing the knowledge and exchanging thoughts, and we are doing progress in our academics, in our profession. But soon I want that we should be able to hold the program physically, be able to meet Professor Muhammad Zahir Uddin Arif ji personally, and across the table, and discuss things and share things, and take up many collaborative programs. Well, this is a very good beginning, as rightly pointed out by my colleague, head of the MBA department, Dr. Yogendra Singh ji, that many of the delegates who were there for the previous program have joined this only because they have reposed the confidence in the quality of the program we conduct, the benchmarks we set, and the programs we conduct, and that is it amply demonstrates that the quality of program we conducted previously was of really very high level, and the same thing we want to maintain throughout. And it is possible because of the cooperation of the elite, the learned, and the intellectual participants coming from all over the world. I would like to congratulate Dr. Yogendra Singh and his team for taking up this program. The International Academia Leadership Program, 1-week program for learning through transitions and transformations. This program is really very well thought, and it is a right program at this situation, that as we all are going through the pandemic, and the fluctuations of pandemic are cause of worry for us, yet we are having the faith in the God. We are doing our best, and God will protect and will be the savior for all of us, and surely we will successfully come out of this pandemic issue. I'm confident. At this hour, the International Academy Leadership Program on learning through transitions and transformation. There is a transition. We are going through this transition phase, and there is a transformation in the way in which we are conducting our lives, conducting our activities, conducting our education. There is a paradigm shift in the way we have been doing things. Whatever we are doing previously is not we are doing today, and the things are going to be different post-pandemic. The world, they are going to be different, and this is how, by conducting the programs, we can prepare ourselves to be able to handle efficiently and effectively the situation in the post-pandemic world. Our basic, being the duties and responsibilities to educate the next generation people, and educating and preparing them to handle the the challenges of tomorrow in our home countries, and of course when they move globally. And this challenging task we can fulfill very efficiently, effectively by meeting with the experts internationally at the international forum, and sharing our thoughts and enriching our knowledge. Keeping this in the backdrop, Dr. Yogendra Singh has put in his best efforts to invite as many as 8 resource persons, and out of the 8 resource persons, 2 are from India and the 6 of them are from overseas. And today's program, Dr. Saravanan Paramashivam, a licensed insurance advisor, EIT, mechanical engineer, teacher, trainer, HSC, NEBOSH, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Sir, good morning to you. And I, on my own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Management Studies, on behalf of my campus, JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, and my management, extend you a hearty welcome, sir. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. I am sorry. I am confident that you would not mind. No, because of the many issues I explained before I started addressing that, you appreciate the technology is the best tool to meet us at the national and international level. And sometimes if there are some hiccups, we should also be able to adjust with that. And it is really wonderful that we are using the technology. And sir, I personally request you to kindly excuse me for the delay delay cost for me to come and join for this program, sir. I extend you hearty welcome, sir, on my own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Management Studies, on behalf of our JSS Academy of Technical Education Noida campus, and my management. I extend you hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful welcome. And from my part, my sincere apologies too for the technical glitches that I'm facing at my side, and I'm not able to show the video and my face is not visible. And I'm sorry for my part, in delaying the things. Anyway, let's now catch up and then manage with what we have. And my topic is risk management. And right now we are facing a risk, and let us manage it together.
Yeah, very true, sir. Let us manage with it. Despite having the minor glitches, in terms of not getting the proper bandwidth, the video is not visible. Let's see what best we can get out of this. Like we'll share the screen. Issues are there in sharing the screen. Voice is audible. We will share, here to you. We will be benefited by your thoughts and your ideas and your knowledge, sir. Well, we are able to get connected with you. We are able to hear to you. That's biggest blessing to all of us. I'm feeling very happy. It is very heartening to know from Dr. Yogendra Singh that there are as many as 600 participants and as many as 100 plus from the overseas, from Philippines, from Malaysia, from Nigeria, from Bangladesh, and from Sri Lanka and other countries. I'm feeling very proud that they have shown the confidence in the quality of work undertaken by the JSS Academy of Technical Education Noida, and particularly by the Department of MBA under the able leadership of Dr. Yogendra Singh Ji, the head of the MBA department. So I extend a warm welcome to all the delegates who have come from my country, from all over the world, and wish that this function will become a great success, and there will be a really quality transaction of the presentations and hearing to the quality lectures and enriching our knowledge. This is really a matter of pride and honor for me that today we are able to launch this international one-week international academia leadership program on learning through transitions and transformation, a topic aptly thought at this moment of this, the transition and the transformation we are undergoing because of the pandemic. The challenge that we are all facing, and I'm sure we all are the persons all over the world. We have maybe we follow different faiths, there's no doubt in it, but we have one faith, there is one common faith that we all follow, that we believe in helping one another, sympathizing for others' problem, helping others during the difficult hours. We believe the highest values of the humanitarian concerns. And this common, the cord we have between all the faiths, that the good humanity, good human values will make us sustain in this world. And with the support and cooperation of all the delegates, and with the support and cooperation of the resource persons who are coming from all over the world, when the support and cooperation of Dr. Saravanan Paramashivam, very kind of him. He has spared his valuable time and has accepted our invitation, and he is with us on board here. I welcome him once again and I congratulate Dr. Yogendra Singh ji for this Herculean task, for the toilsome work and the formidable task that he has taken up and fulfilled very successfully. It is really a huge task that he has fulfilled, and it is really baffling to know that there are as many as 6 international speakers who are going to address during this program, during this event, and there are as many as 600 delegates from all over the world, 100 plus from the overseas countries. I am proud, and I once again extend hearty welcome to Dr. Saravanan Paramashivam, and congratulate Dr. Yogendra Singh ji and his team of faculty members for launching this program successfully. Wish all a very happy, a safe, and happy, good health during these difficult times, and wish this program a great success. Thank you very much. Namaskar ji. Thank you very much. Unmute kariye aap. Unmute kariye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your support and cooperation and for your kind words. And now I request Dr. Sapna Mathur Madam to kindly continue with the session. And as our next speaker, he's also with us because he was supposed to start his session from 1 o'clock. So I request Shravan sir to start his presentation, and we'll try to summarize little faster. Sorry, I am saying in this beginning, sorry sir. I will try to summarize little fast because again, our next speaker will also be able to join, sir. Sir, over to Sapna madam, and kindly sir start, ma'am, please.
Thanks a lot, sir. And I also want to thank our Honorable Principal, sir, for his words of encouragement, motivation, and his continuous support, especially with our team. Now for the day 1, session 1, we have Dr. Saravanan Paramasivam, and he'll be throwing light on the topic, risk management and future protection through insurance. And before going with the topic, I'll just go through with the enriched profile of his, which is means enormous, and I have to make it short. So he has over 20 years of academic experience, teaching, training, manufacturing, risk management, project management, consultancy, and quality assurance experience. He is a PhD in mechanical engineering and master's in manufacturing engineering with number of certifications and number of courses in his domain. He has effectively managed over 2,300 students, 100 plus staff from 8 different nationalities, 5 different specializations, different labs and workshops, and has taught over 20 plus engineering courses to around number of students in his career. He is recipient of 18 awards and appreciation certificates. He has published number of papers in reputed journals and has in his domain number of professional development certifications. And with the topic, it says risk management and future protection through insurance. As we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic, it continues to spread and it has a far-reaching effect on our lives, business and economies worldwide. Local and national governments are escalating measures aimed at stemming the reach of the virus and mitigating its disruptive impacts. So this is the basic theme of this particular topic, and I hope Dr. Saravanan Paramasivam, he will be throwing light on this aspect, basically with the help of insurance. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sapna.
Thank you,
my sincere thanks to Dr. Patil, Dr. Yogendra Singh, and other administrators of the esteemed organization JSS for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge with the wide audience spectrum that we have today. And thank you so much. And let me ask my sincere apologies to the participants for not being able to join with my video because of the glitches and my part in delaying things here. And I'm really sorry for wasting your precious time. And now this is the risk that we are facing, and incidentally, it's a good start for my presentation on the risk management. And we all now realize how important it is to have plans to manage the risk. And there is a popular saying that says, failing to plan is planning to fail. And that is what is now happening at my side. Anyway, it's okay. And very warm greetings to you all from Toronto. It is still dark outside my window, and it is 3:30 a.m. I know, yeah, good early Monday morning. And I'm really feeling blessed and pleased to be a presenter at this program called International Academia Leadership Program. And especially, being academicians and being a responsible social members, we always bother about the graduate attributes. And one of the very important graduate attributes that need to be possessed by the graduates as well as professionals is the ability and interest to learn lifelong and adapt themselves to the changing situations and being resilient in the face of an adversity. From that perspective, the theme of this 1 week program, it's really very attractive. Learning through transitions and transformations is very thoughtfully selected, and I appreciate that. This is very relevant now than ever. As we all know, the COVID pandemic literally changed the way we live, the way countries and businesses were running, and simply it changed the life process from its root. No one is still able to actually figure it out what could be done to overcome this pandemic. And everything is now undergoing a transformation, and we are in the middle of that transition without knowing in which direction we are actually heading to. So that much fluid is the situation, and we need to adapt ourselves for these changes. And they are not going to end there. And it will be there forever. And as human beings, we just need to understand this and learn to adapt to those transformations. Things will always evolve, and learning is the reliable vehicle to sail through it. And let me try to, do my bit through this session by sharing my knowledge on risk management with you all. Dr. Sapna, can I know how much of time that I can take? Maybe can I recite a?
Yes, sir, 20 to 30 minutes as a speaker too. He has his scheduled meeting at 2:15, I suppose. So sorry to say, it would be around.
No problem, no problem. I understand that. And let me quickly wind it out, and give me a second to pull my screen, and I'll manage. I'll share my screen and presentation, and let's go ahead with it and fast.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, is my screen visible to you all,
visible.
Participants?
Visible, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir, visible, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Visible, sir. Visible.
And
Visible.
Yeah. My presentation is primarily anchoring on risk management, and I will be touching insurance a bit as a treatment option available for the risk management. The focus is really on risk management. And the topics that we will be seeing today are these. We will start with what is risk and risk management, the definition, and the global standards that are governing the risk management across the world, and establishing the context. And then we will be getting into the actual process of the risk management, which starts with establishing the context and followed by risk identification. Then we will be seeing what is risk analysis quickly, risk evaluation, treatment and monitoring. These are the important processes of risk management actually. And then we will see the two important documents related to risk management that really helps managing things, which are risk register and treatment plan. And then we'll be seeing a little bit about insurance, and we'll wind it out with costings. And this is the plan. Yeah, and the definition of risk, The academic definition of the risk is given here. It goes like this. Risk is the threat or possibility that an action or event will adversely or beneficially affect an organization's ability to achieve its objectives. And this is the definition that I pulled it from the University of Wisconsin website, because risk can be defined, as I said, contextualization. Always risk management starts with the contextualization, and organizations can, come out with their own definition that fits to their purpose, and convey that to the stakeholders related to their organization. And this is the risk definition, which can be acceptable in general, as it covers all aspects of the risk. And as per this, we have two kinds of the risks. One is the threat risk, which can negatively affect the organization. The other one is opportunity risk, which can, the kind of risk that gives us opportunities, positive things, in order for us to prosper. Anyway, we don't like to focus at the moment on the opportunity risk. I would like to focus on the threat risk and the management processes related to managing that. And risk management, as per the ISO definition, is the systematic application of management policy. Like any other management, it is the systematic application of management policies, procedures, and practices to the tasks of establishing the context, identifying, analyzing, assessing, treating, and monitoring the risks, and communicating them to the various stakeholders. Communication is the contextualization and communication. These two plays a major role in the success of any management application. And basically, it's a forecasting and planning process that has got execution, monitoring, and review embedded on it, like any other process. And in short, the process, risk management process, is for securing the future by identifying and planning to treat the risks. The more we understand about the risks, the more we can manage them. And that is the general rule applicable everywhere. And the global standards, ISO 31000, initially formulated in the year, released in the year 2009 and reviewed in the year 2018. And the important parts of that, the ISO 31000 standard by itself is dealing with principles and guidelines on implementing the risk management concepts. And there is ISO 31010 2009, which was not reviewed, is actually a standard establishing the best practices across the board for risk assessment, risk management and risk assessment. And we have ISO Gate 73 2009 that is actually standardizing the risk management related vocabulary in order to have a common understanding all over the world. And there is an organization called Institute of Risk Management and the Association of Insurance and Risk Managers. They are another global organization based in UK, responsible for managing the affairs globally related to risk management. And if you like to pursue a career in risk management, you can approach them, and you can, undergo courses and get the certifications from them, which are universally, acceptable and valid. And on the other hand, we have Australian standards, Australian and New Zealand combined standards. That's also quite famous. And in the past, they were having their own standards, and right now they adopted to 31000 and to ISO 31000. And as far as India is concerned, our Bureau of Indian Standard is also adopting ISO 31000. And this presentation also is prepared based on ISO 31000 standard. And we have a slightly different, but almost the same, managerial, what we can say, risk management concepts, with the same risk management concept standard from Institute of Risk Management, IRM. But this presentation will be in line to ISO 31000 standard. And let me start it with the framework, risk management framework as per ISO 31000. ISO 31000. As you see here, this is the framework which has got a 5-stage process which is in the middle. Risk management actually starts with establishing the context, which is very important, and we will be seeing it little more detail in the later stage with the slides that are coming up. And after establishing the context, that is followed by risk identification, followed by risk analysis, and then risk evaluation, finally risk treatment. These are the different stages of risk management process. And as you see, it's a downward arrow, and it has to be done in this particular direction. Whereas on at the sides, left and right hand sides, you see the two important aspect of any management system. One is communication and consultation. That is involved in all stages of the risk management process, and the arrow is bidirectional. Similarly, we have monitoring and review on the right hand side. That also is controlling all the other stages of risk management, and that also need to be, the communication is bidirectional. So any system requires proper communication and consultation with the stakeholders' involvement and continuous ongoing monitoring and review in order for improvement, which is what is we call quality. That improves the effectiveness of management, in short, actually. And now we are into establishing the context and identifying the risk. When it comes to contextualization, it's a very important consultative process, actually, where the experts and the people who have thorough understanding of the organizational system and processes need to be involved. It shouldn't be done, with a single man input. You have to, or we have to involve the people who are with the organization for quite some time and been through all the systems and processes related to the organization and faced the difficulties, so that they can, properly come out with the definitions, objectives, and all that related to risk management. And the effectiveness of the entire risk management system is depending on the effectiveness of the contextualization, in short. And the risk evaluation and treatment differs basically widely based on this context. And it starts with defining the various risk management terminology in relation to the organization of the set. And the risk identification also should be done by a team and is an ongoing activity as well. And risks need to be identified and finalized based on, as I said, discussions, deliberations, and consultations with the experts and all the stakeholders, and who are aware of the context and primarily the institution's tolerance levels. Because every organization and institution is different. Even if you take, for example, teaching institution, public institutions are different from private institutions. Their goals, objectives, tolerance levels related to different aspects of management as well as risks might be different. Even within private institutions, things cannot be standardized or generalized. One institution is different from other institution. Even within the institution, one department is different from other departments. So considering this, the team need to be formed in order to identify the risks. And there are globally 5 standard type of the risks, which can be expanded into many different types based on the needs and functionality of an organization. The standard 5 types are these: strategic risks, operational risks, financial risks, and compliance and reputational risks. Strategic risk is something that has the potential to affect the achievement of the organizational goals and objectives. They are very serious kind of risks, and most of the time, these risks are come from outside, external to the organization. Most of the time, we will not be able to have direct control over these kind of strategic risks, but at times, there can be strategic risk arising from internally. Like even our strategic plan, if our strategic plan is not properly mapped with the vision, mission, and the department functionalities, and if it is away from the reality, then that itself will become a risk. People will find it so difficult to meet those strategies because they are not mapped with the reality, mapped with the resources, mapped with the actual potential of the organization. This is one strategic risk, for example. And operational risks are actually arising from inadequate systems and failed processes that normally affects the day-to-day operations of different units of an organization. And we have, in fact, a lot of scope to expand the operational risks into many different types based on the nature of the organization. For an academic environment, the operational risk can be related to even the teaching quality, related to human resources, related to the infrastructure, students, research, and all that. We can have subtypes under these operational risks. And same thing applies to other organizations as well. You can have further classification into these operational risks. And financial risks are basically related to revenue reduction and cost escalation, and related to funding and budgets and budget shortages and things like that. Normally, financial risks gets most of the attention, as most of the organizations are anchored. The objective of the organizations mostly anchored on the finance, and normally more attention used to be given to risks related to that. And compliance, as the name says, it's supposed to be non-compliant risk that we face because of stakeholders or the operations non-compliance towards the regulations and procedures. We have regulatory compliances. We have, we need our stakeholders' compliance to the organization's policies and procedures. And when it is not happen, when there is willful negligence, and when there is contract breach and things like that, that results in risks, which are called compliance risks. And reputational risks that can bring bad name to the organization. And in this world of social media, it's quite important as well. Organizations need to have proper strategies to manage these things in order to be in the business in a longer run, because reputation matters a lot. Reputation and the values for which an organization or institution stands for really brings them the business and people towards them. And if it gets affected, it may become a kind of a strategic risk that may affect even the viability of the organization or institution. So a lot of attention need to be focused on taking care of the reputation related risks. And this next stage, after identifying the risks, we have to analyze the risks. Basically, risk management process, as I told, starts with contextualization, means setting up the framework, creating the terminologies, and all that related to the risk management according to the needs of the organization, and then doing the risk identification with the proper people using the consultative process. And after the identification, we have to analyze the identified risks. And basically, risk analysis is a process of finding out the adverse effects of the forecasted risk, both qualitatively as well as quantitatively. And if we cannot measure something, we cannot believe on that. This is normally the accepted management thinking. So the qualitative thing need to be transferred into quantitative thing using a rating system. Normally, globally, people use 1 to 5 rating scale. That is what you see here on this slide. And where qualitative measures are mapped with the rating of scale 1 to 5. And this is done based on the severity factors related to financial cost, human safety, reputation damage, mission criticality, and the project time and all that. Basically, the analysis is done, based on consequence of the risk, or what kind of damage that risk can cause to the institution or an organization, and then how frequently it can occur, which we call likelihood. So based on the consequence and the likelihood of its occurrence, the risks are qualified and quantified as well. And let us see that, see this little bit in detail, because this is important. And, based on consequence, risks can be classified as catastrophic, which is getting the highest rating of 5, and which is actually a kind of risk that may affect even the existence of the organization. And normally these risks are beyond the organization's defined tolerance level. The consequences of the risk would have disastrous impact, in fact, on schedules, timeline, cost, as I told earlier, and the organization's reputation. Comprehensive action is required immediately to mitigate the risk when it occurs. So catastrophic risks are that kind of risks. And normally top management needs to involve and monitor the mitigation efforts. And certain risks can be called high risks, which may normally affect the functions of the organization for a certain period of time. And it is actually severe, but not disastrous like catastrophic risk. And this also requires immediate action to mitigate the risk, and development of comprehensive action plan to deal with that whenever it occurs. And continuous monitoring also is required for such risks. But it requires involvement of the top management, but not to the extent of catastrophic risk. And the other kind is moderate risk. Now I'm talking about the risk, what we can say, analysis based on its consequences. And moderate kind of risks, may affect the different operations, and their impact is normally, on the day-to-day basis on the schedules and timelines. And action is required, and we need to have action plan, not like a comprehensive one. We can have an action plan and we can follow that when we deal with these moderate kind of risks. And these risks also need to be monitored regularly. Whereas the other two type, minor and insignificant kind of risks, as the name says, will not cause much of an issue and can be neglected. When it comes to the priority, it gets the least priority. And normally no immediate action will be required when we deal with minor and insignificant risks. And they gets the rating of 1 and 2. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what you see on the screen, or the quantitative rating related to those consequence-based risks. Similarly, on the likelihood side, again, we have 1 to 5 rating, where this, you see, rating 5 goes to, very high likelihood risks that can occur on a day-to-day basis. And for them, we give the rating of 5. Similarly, we have, rating 4 goes to high category that has got the potential to occur every quarter, in every financial quarter for other organizations, and for institutions, we can say that can occur every semester. And similarly, rating 3 goes to average likelihood risks that can happen, maybe once in a year or once in 2 years and things like that. And 2, it goes to the likelihood, which can, kind of risk that can occur during a strategic plan period. Sometimes Some organizations may go for 3-year strategic plan. Some other organizations may go for 5-year strategic plan, and that is the norm. No one is going to have 1-year strategic plan, because annual operational plans takes care of that. Strategic plans normally plan for 3 to 5 years, and any risk that has got the potential to occur within either 3 or 5-year period can get this rating of 2, which is low. The qualitative in qualitative terms, and 1 goes to very low kind of risk. These are the kind of risk that may occur or may not occur. The probability for its occurrence will be very less, and that may occur maybe in the next 5 years time, 10 years time. Say for example, earthquakes. One can always say that it may happen, but we never say when will it happen, and it may happen now, or it may not happen maybe for next 100 years. So such kind of thing gets very low priority, and the rating of 1 under likelihood. And so doing this is called risk analysis, and that is followed by a risk evaluation or risk assessment stage, where we categorize the risk in order to prioritize our treatment. And here again, it is customizable as per the needs of the organization. And here we work with an important term called a risk score, which is basically a product of consequence rating and likelihood rating. So we have just seen that consequence rating, 1 to 5. Similarly, likelihood rating 1 to 5. If we, I can better explain that using the risk register table. Let me go to that slide. Yeah, you can see that here, and it can be explained better. Here, what you see is this is the risk register table, a sample, and prepared with academic institution in mind. And here the risk type is I brought in one operational and the other financial risk here. This operational risk is related to academic, and the risk is unpopular academic programs. If you run an academic program in an institution, we may not get students registered into it. And even if they are registered over the period of time after the graduation, they may not be placed well. They may not be employed well, and that will again, bring in a bad reputation to the institution and will affect the program as such. So the consequence is that academic programs not aligned with the labor market needs, thus low employability of the graduates. And existing control is something which is part of the risk analysis, which I forgot to mention about it there. When we do the risk analysis, when we identify, classify them, we need to find out the existing control also. It is part of the analysis as well. What kind of a system that we have to deal with the risk if it occurs in the future. That is what is called existing control. And here the normal existing control that all the institutions have is the industrial feedback on academic programs. And when it comes to rating, risk rating, this is the process we just discussed. Consequence rating for this particular risk, unpopular academic program, is very high actually for the institution, because it straight away defies the purpose of the institution, because students are studying mainly to get the placement and get the relevant knowledge that will be useful in terms of contributing to the society through the market. So when that purpose is not there, it's a very high consequential risk. So the rating 5 is given. And if you think about the likelihood, it cannot happen every day. We don't change the programs, or we don't graduate the students every day. And it cannot happen even in a semester time. It can happen at the least in a year time. You can have maybe a 1-year program. If it is a 1-year program, the student may graduate in a year time. So the likelihood it can happen in a year time. So I have given a rating of 3. And if you multiply this, that gives you the risk score, which is 15. And based on which you can actually prioritize the treatment. Let me now go back to, this is how we do the risk evaluation. Let me now go back to the risk evaluation slide. Here you see a table. So here you see a table where you see, on the x-axis at the top, we have consequential rating 1 to 5, and vertically on the left-hand side, you see the likelihood rating from 1 to 5 here. And what you see here is the risk score, which is the product of consequential rating as well as the likelihood rating. And 1 multiplied by 1 is 1, and it is 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. And these 4 different colors are actually denoting low, moderate, high, and extreme kind of risk. This is from the priority perspective, okay? And based on this risk score, normally the risks will get the attention, treatment attention from the top management. If it falls, the green color, this region indicates the low risks, 1 to 4 risk score gets the risk a low attention. We call it as low risk, and that really will not be, looked at all from the management perspective. We will just accept the risk, and because it will not cause much harm, and it is within the tolerance levels, manageable tolerance levels. And the yellow color, this band shows the moderate kind of risks, where the management of the risk is in fact important. In case of low risk, it is not so important. In moderate risk, it is important to the success of the organization and meeting its goals. And here the risk mitigation, improvement of it is need not required at this stage. We can just use the mitigation procedure that we have already agreed on. It can just be, executed by any functional executives within the organization. And management control and responsibility for such risks already might have been established in the treatment plan. High, and if it falls in this region, when the risk score is between 10 to 15, that gets the rating of, that gets the priority of high category risks, and that requires immediate management attention and treatment. And it is it is in the very important, range as far as management is concerned, and immediate attention is required. And the red region, when the risk score, if it gets 16 to 25, then it's really, extreme kind of the risks, and immediate action is required. Top management need to involve themselves into it. Sometimes it requires research, planning, and immediate decision making, along with contingency finance allotment and all that. And after we do the risk identification, analysis, and evaluation, we will be getting into the most important aspect of risk management, which is having plans to treat the risks. And universally, we have 4 different options to treat the risk. And the first one here, this is your project, and you come across, basically you forecast. As I already told you, it's a planning process. The entire risk management process is a forecasting and planning process. You forecast a risk on the way of your project, and then you have the rest of these are different treatment options. What you have, one is to avoid. You have to analyze the risk, validate it, and map it with your resources, and you can take any of these decisions to treat that. You can either avoid it if you see that there is no purpose in continuing with the project and facing that risk and getting affected. If you conclude that way, then you can avoid that. You need not get into that project. And most of the time, this will be our treatment option, which is mitigation. We will be, based on our resources, what we have, we will be trying to establish a plan to deal with that risk in order to reduce its consequential and likelihood effects, and to safely sail through the risk. Mitigation requires the treatment plans. This is what 95% of the time will be our treatment option. And this is the third option, which is right now, getting attention widely, and people are moving more into this direction. Instead of owning their own resources to deal with the risks, now they are more willing to subcontract the risks to the people who are having expertise in it, and that is where the insurance thing is coming in. Okay, subcontracting and insurance thing is coming in transferring the risk to others by spending little amount of money. And we all know no organization or establishment is going to have all the financial and other resources actually to mitigate all the risks. That is where the treatment actually is getting the importance. And one important thing is that the last option is to, if the risk is minor and insignificant, we can accept the risk and then face it. That is what shown by this last, cartoon. And one thing what I want to highlight related to risk treatment is that the people who will decide the treatment needs to understand the context of the institution or the organization and the situation, and then they have to decide, because the treatment may differ for the same risk depending on the context. It is not going to be the same between different organizations working on the same functionality. It will be different. And sometimes what happens, some risks in fact require more than one treatment, and sometimes one treatment may solve more than one risk. It all depends on the quality of the people you involve in the risk management process and the effectiveness of the system that you create. Normally, we intend to have treatment plans that can solve multiple risks at one shot, so that we need not spend much resources and time in dealing with the risks when it occurs. This we have seen already. This is an important document. It can be, in the past, it has to be available in the hard copy. It was a requirement before. And right now, because of the development of these digital technologies, you can have it online. It can be in soft form. And that will be, in fact, helpful to communicate and create awareness among the stakeholders, because people can, from any part of the organization can, easily have the access to the risk register when they face a risk and when they don't know what to do with it. Because risk register is basically a document that contains the details about the risk and what to do when you are facing the risk. It is the second part of the risk register. You can see that, which is what we call treatment plan. That deals with the what to do aspect of the risk register. And you can see that here. What you see here is the treatment plan table, wherein the first 4 columns, it is just taken exactly from the risk register, where you see the risk type and where you see the risk type and the risk as such. And sorry for this, actually formatting issue. And then the consequences, right? These two combined together is part of the risk identification process. And from here until this, it is risk analysis. And what is not shown here is the existing control. So consequence, identifying the consequence and classifying the risk along with, checking the existing control is called a risk analysis process. And risk evaluation, actually, finding out the risk score and bringing it under this classification: high, moderate, the low, high, moderate, and extreme cases from the priority perspective, from the treatment priority perspective. And this is the treatment option. Here, I just made it very short. But in the organizational or institutional context, the treatment plans will be very elaborate. And that will be having even the resources and whom to be approached, contact numbers, and the budget, and how much of time can be spent on that and all that. And whom to be communicated, how report has to be generated, and when it has to be submitted, to whom it has to be submitted. All that will be part of the treatment plan. And it all depends on the, what we can say, the nature of the risk the nature of the risk and its classification. High risks, extreme risks, these two risks requires a comprehensive treatment plan that would be having all that I just said. And the next important thing is that monitoring, because always having a plan will not be enough. We need to execute the plans, and then it will be a mechanism to get the feedback of the effectiveness of the implementation or execution, and it need to be monitored as well. So responsibility has to be fixed for monitoring that, and we need to have what we can say, identify the KPIs. Normally we use KPI stands for key performance indicators, that has to be identified for effective monitoring of the implementation of treatment plans in order to meet the risk when it occurs. And now we are moving into the insurance territory. As we have completed the risk management process, and it was a quick through. In fact, I cut short the examples because it will take time. And as we have seen, insurance is one of the treatment options. What is the treatment option? It is transferring the responsibility of handling the risk. That's where the insurance is coming. So contracting the work is coming in. And the basic reason for that is all institutions may not have all the resources and expertise to deal with all kind of risks that they foresee. Whereas in the market, we will be having experts, who have the necessary expertise as well as resources to deal with certain kind of the risks. Insurance industry is one big industry working based on this risk management in risk management area. And the definition of insurance goes like this. It's a practice or arrangement by which a company or a government agency, we generally call them as insurers, provides a guarantee or compensation for specified loss, damage, illness, or death in return for payment of premium. It's actually a kind of contract between the insured and the insurer. Insured is the person or an entity or an event that we, for which we approach this external agency or insurer in order to transfer our risk responsibility to them. And insurer is a person who is willing to accept, who is having the ability to deal with that and willing to accept that responsibility on a payment of premium, providing insurer, I can say that it's a kind of a contract between the insured and insurer, providing compensation from the insurer side at the instant of the covered risk when it happens, for the payment of your premium from the insured. And there are, in fact, many different kinds of insurance solutions available, depending upon the need. Organizational needs are there, and people intend to personally protect themselves from the risks that they forecast, and based on which I have listed down some of the solutions that are available globally. We have general liability insurance that takes care of the liability of the businesses, and business overhead protection insurance. And there is insurance solution if you have gone for before you face the risk. That is the very important thing. Normally, you cannot go for insurancing once you started facing the risk. Then the risk on the insurer side will go up, and they will be charging you, accordingly. They also have a risk assessment process, and they will be assessing the risks. And if your risk score goes high, accordingly, the premium that you will be paying will be high. You have to go to the insurer in advance when you do not have the risk happening at your side. And at that time, the risk score will be less, and the premiums also will be less. We have business overhead protection solutions, business buy buy and sell insurance solutions, key person insurance solutions, life insurances, which is very popular. Everyone know about it, and income replacement solutions are there. We technically call it as disability insurance. Critical illness insurance coverages are there, and we have even investment options with insurance component, payout annuities. This is basically a retirement planning thing. Even retirement itself is a risk actually nowadays. If you don't have enough, money flow, then it will be a risk. Managing our living standard will be a risk during retirement, and we have insurance solution for it. And insurances are there for persons, and there are solutions for covering up the groups. There are solutions for businesses, and there are solutions covering health related things. And we have asset protection insurance solutions. The popular ones are home and auto insurance, and we have professional insurance protection. Sometimes in your business, if you are a professional, if you are a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, if you make a mistake nowadays, we have regulatory bodies that will follow you, and you will be subject to phenomenal amount of fines and other things, and that will run into millions. And there are insurance solutions that can protect you from the errors or omissions that you do, part of your profession, if it happens, because we are human beings, tend to make mistakes, and we can protect ourselves from those mistakes by having these insurance coverages, because the risk will be transferred to the insurer, and they will take care of the compensations and whatever be the amount. And they'll pay the amount for which you are insured for. And then we have crop, even there is insurance coverages for farmers, unorganized sector people. There are insurance solutions, and with a proper plan. Normally, government need to play a role in such things, in protecting the society as a whole from unexpected natural calamity related risks. We have solutions. Actually, insurers are having solutions globally. And about the travel insurance, and there are many more. We need, it's a separate topic. I just brought this, as an example how we can protect ourselves. It's a personal insurance context, and what is important to a person is life, health, assets, and income, and there are solutions to cover all of them. And this is what is basically a risk management as a person. Risk management, effective risk management as a person. And these are my references for this presentation. And now, let me open it up for questions if you have anything. I actually sorry for this, what we can say, quick presentation. In fact, I wanted to, present it with many more examples as well. I couldn't do that because of the issues that happened. And once again, my apologies. If you have any questions now, let me try to answer to those questions.
So as far as the questions are concerned, we have not received any of the questions yet on the chat box. And if in case I'll receive any of the questions, I'll share you offline. But definitely I have one of my question, which I'll definitely float to you.
Please.
Yeah. Sir, you have talked about risk management and all the things like identification, effects, consequences, evaluation. My only question in this is, when we talk about risk, in this, can we do the quantification of opportunity cost, which is like involved when we talk about risk and risk management? Is there any way where we can do the quantification, and on the basis of that, we are able to minimize the risk at as much as possible?
Yeah, okay. Can you ask the question once again, please? Maybe I didn't understand that.
Yeah, definitely, sir. when we talk about the concept of risk management, and
Yeah.
when we talk about risk, there are alternatives with us, where we have to take out one of the alternatives to make a proper decision, and then we have to forego the other alternatives. So then my question says, is there any way where we can do the quantification, can we quantify the opportunity cost which is involved when we specifically talk risk and risk management, so that we can minimize it as much as possible?
Yeah, that's great. Okay, great question, actually. As I already told you, risk management is basically forecasting, planning process. We are not going to do risk management when it occurs. Risk management basically is a forecasting process, in the sense that, we have to, it's a consultation process as well, I said. It starts with contextualization. Let us leave it, and then the first most important management stage is the risk identification stage, followed by the analysis stage. And what you asked for is related to the analysis stage. At the risk identification stage, we will be identifying the risk, which in our opinion will affect us in future negatively if it occurs. So we have identified it. Afterwards, we have to analyze it. We have to see what could be its consequence, what kind of damage that we will be facing, either at the organizational level, or at the department level, or at the operational level, depending upon the type of risk that we forecasted. Once we identified the consequence, then it can be qualitatively, we normally will be identifying the consequence. Once we do that qualitatively, then we can move on to quantifying the consequence, where we have this rating. All right, we have this rating, this 1 to 5 rating, but that does not have any financial connotation. If you want to have the financial, I mean the amount of money that we will be losing if that risk has got the financial thing, normally most of the risk will have that financial connotation. So when we identify the consequence itself, say for example, if certain risks, let me bring in the institutional context. Assume that we have a professor who is getting X salary and teaching maybe vital courses, and if he say for example is not available for certain period of time, maybe because of the health or certain reason, and even the immediate consequence is that students will not be served with the knowledge input. That is the consequence, and you have to find a replacement. Okay, this is the consequence. The academic process will be affected. If you want to figure it out, how much of financial damage that this can cause, then you can relate his salary. He is getting a salary, and you can suppose if he is not available for a month time, it means that you will be paying him anyway, but you will not get what I can say, the resource input from him during that time. So you can safely assume that that much amount of money you are going to lose. You understand that the salary that is given to the professor, it will not be getting converted into a teaching hour or resource transfer, knowledge transfer. So you can assume. So it all depends. It all subject to deliberation and consultation. So what I'm telling may not be correct in your context, because he is going to take the leave that he is eligible for. So it cannot be considered as a financial loss as well. This is another perspective. I'm just telling the importance of involving the experienced people and deliberating things before coming to the conclusion. So if you look at the risk from different perspectives and angles, from the HR perspective, from the what we can say, from the teaching perspective, from the salary perspective, and any other perspective, depending upon the kind of risk, and automatically you will end up with the cost that you will be losing if that risk occurs. So because the treatment option, that is depending on the cost that you identify, that you will be losing out of the risk. So if you are losing, say, $1 million if any, because of one particular risk, you will not be bothering about spending, say, $1,000 or $10,000 in dealing with that, because you will not be ready to lose $1 million. So you will be ready to spend $10,000 on that, and that will be the budget for your treatment plan. So this is how the flow goes. So the money matters a lot actually when it comes to risk management. That is why I said lot of attention has been given to financial risks. Every risk at the end of the day will be getting converted into a financial risk, and then treatment option will be based on the amount of money that we will be losing on that risk.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. And sir, the questions which we'll receive via chat box, I'll float you in the offline mode, and I'll take your inputs pertaining
Thank
to
you so
those
much.
questions.
And this is my contact detail. And any of the participants, if they are interested, they can contact me using this or directly, or it
Right.
can be channeled through JSS also. I'll
Definitely,
be
sir.
more than happy to help what I can.
Definitely, sir.
With that, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, participants. I hope that you might be benefited a little. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was indeed a very informative session, specifically on risk management, which is the requirement of today's scenario, how we are managing it, how we are mitigating it, and how we are taking out different measures to mitigate it. Definitely, thanks a lot. And now I would like to request Dr. Yogen Singh, sir, to formally thank our speaker for the session one, day one, and share his inputs pertaining to the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sapna Mathur ma'am, the co-convener of IALDP. Respected principal, sir. Am I audible, principal, sir? So first of all, I would like to thank on behalf of the entire Department of Management Studies, on behalf of entire Management Studies, for the wonderful. सर इनॉग्रल सेशन वाइंड अप कर रहे हैं, बस एक मिनट आपसे बोलेंगे सर, एक सेकंड इनपुट. So respected principal sir, it is indeed a very nice and wonderful session done by Sarvan Paramshivam sir, and for talking on the risks and the various insurance aspects. So before we wind up this first session or the inaugural session of the starting of this IALP, I must thank, first of all, my sincere thanks to our first speaker, Dr. Sarvana Parameswaran, for his wonderful session. And irrespective of the technical glitches, we have finally landed in a very good position. And I also say sorry and my apologies to our next speaker, who is already in with us from last 45 minutes. So I must thank our honorable principal sir for his valuable time which he has spared, and throughout the session he was with us, and we expect him to continue for the next session also. And I also thank to Dr. Sapna Mathur madam, co-convener this IALP, for designing such a wonderful program, for taking such a pains by coming out with a new idea and the new topic. And it is really a combination of thought process and the execution process and the leadership process. With the help of our principal sir, we have finally concluded after designing the program by Dr. Sapna Mathur ma'am, that we have finally concluded in such a manner, and the leadership of our honorable principal sir. So thank you very much, principal sir, for your continuous guidance and showing path to us. I also must thank to our faculty coordinators, Professor Rakesh Bhatt sir, Professor Dr. Aanchal Singhal madam, Professor Ankur Garg sir, and all the faculty members of DMS, Dr. Kokila madam, Dr. Vednath Ram Prajapati sir, Dr. Anju Tripathi madam, Dr. Pratibha Giri madam, Professor Sadasiv sir, and all. And I must thank all the participants for sharing their valuable time and making this program a great success. So before we move to our next session, as already our speaker is with us, Mr. Dr. Avitav Anand from France, I request our honorable principal, sir, to say a few words to conclude this inaugural session. Over to you, principal, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yogendra Singh ji. I would like to thank wholeheartedly the first speaker, Dr. Saravanan Shivamji, for giving a presentation of the excellent quality. It was information rich, and the information was so valuable. It was a new learning and a new dimension of knowledge for all of us. He has prepared the details to such a microscopic level that it was scintillating experience for all of us, showing light to every minor, very microscopic level of the topic he discussed. A wonderful slides and PPT and presentation. He is an excellent a teacher, a mentor, and he can inspire people. I am impressed by your great qualities and personality, sir. I, on my own behalf, on behalf of our Department of Management Studies and my institution, thank you wholeheartedly for the wonderful, impressive, and informative presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I don't like without dwelling upon for a long time on this, the inaugural session that we are concluding now. I also would like to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Amitabh Anand ji for the second session from France, and he has been very kind enough to accept our invitation to present his the experience and his knowledge for the August gathering by the online means for the audience, the global audience, including India and many audience, participants from all over the world. I, on my own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Management Studies and our management, extend you hearty welcome, sir, and wish this program a great success. Look forward that sometime, when we come to India, we will meet up and discuss and take forward our interest of working on the, the research topics of mutual interest jointly on sharing the student exchange program and the faculty exchange program and the research of common interest. I welcome you all. We welcome you for this program, sir, on my own behalf, on behalf of my campus for this program. Thank you very much. Namaskar ji.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words. And before I again pass on to Dr. Sabna Mathur Madam, co-convener of this program, I also thank HOD EC Dr. Arun Kumar ji for his valuable support and cooperation. Right from the beginning, he is with us, and he has also played a very important role in helping me out in getting such a wonderful program. So thank you, Arun Kumar sir. Also, now over to Dr. Sapna Mathur Madam to continue with this program, please.
Sorry, I should say thanks to Dr. Arun as well, because he is the connection between me and JSS.
Thank you so much,
Dr.
Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Yogendra, and the participants. I wish all the best and a grand success for this program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. And now going with the session 2 of day 1, we have Dr. Amitabh Anand from France. And before going with this enriched profile, definitely I'll go with the topic or the theme, which says digital globalization. And as all of us know that globalization has reached a critical turning point where soaring flows of data and information now generate more economic value than the goods, global goods we are trading. So I heartily welcome our speaker for session 2, Dr. Amitabh Anand, who is presently working as a professor at Schema Business School, University Côte d'Azur Gredeg. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, France. And he has won several awards in research, excellence in peer review award from South Asian Journal of Human Resources, Emerging Scholar Award from Organization Studies Research Network, Knowledge Management and Intellectual Capital Excellence Award, nomination for a best case study on Shah. And as far as teaching and impact on student learning, he's the only one from Europe to make it to the prestigious 2018 list of top 50 professor in the world among 400 nominations by Poets and Quants USA. So I heartily welcome you, sir, and I would like you to rather request you to kindly go with the your topic, which says digital globalization. Over to you, sir.
So thank you so much.
But before we start, sorry, I request the technical team to kindly put off the YouTube live